much in this case. So long as Tanis could fly under Maya's radar, meet with Felix, and then get the hell away from Saturn and its spread of worldlets, she'd count the day as a win. Love the rings, hate the planet, she thought as she rose from her table and smoothed out her flowing blue dress. Today she was Judy Hughes, an auditor for a firm on the station who was just looking to unwind for a bit. Satisfied with her appearance, she walked to the back of the bar where a few people were playing pool. She leaned against a ledge that ran along the wall, which held more than a few empty glasses that the servitors hadn't collected yet, and watched the game. It was the first part of the prearranged signal that she was ready to talk. Once she'd stood there for several minutes, a servitor approached and asked her if she'd like something to drink. Tanis nodded and sent the bot to fetch her a gray Andersonian. It was a drink that took a number of distinct steps to prepare, and if the man at the bar was her contact, he'd be unable to miss the bartender preparing it. Of course, if he isn't my contact, I'm going to have to order another of those vile concoctions when he does arrive. A minute later, the servitor brought Tanis her gray Andersonian, and she peered into the beverage's murky depths, trying not to think of what the yellow streaks were made with and how much she was going to enjoy giving Harm a piece of her mind when she met him on Luna. "Stop sneering at it," Darla admonished. "You'll make it curdle more than it already has." Gah, now that's something I don't want to even consider. Tanis reduced her taste bud sensitivity and took a sip of the beverage, summoning all her willpower as the liquid, which tasted like she imagined a slug's innards would, slid down her throat. Ugh! I'm going to punch Harm in the sternum. Why does this drink even exist? She cupped the drink in her hands and continued to watch the game of pool, drawing together the willpower to take another sip. Before she managed to bring the glass to her lips, the game ended, and the crowd around the table broke up. Tanis moved toward the table and pulled the balls out of the return to rack them. As she was setting the 8-ball into place, the man she'd been surreptitiously watching at the bar finally rose and ambled toward her, a tall glass of beer in his hand. He brushed his long brown hair out of his face and grabbed the cue ball, setting it behind the second diamond. "Crazy that this place uses a physical table," he commented as he reached for his stick. "I like it," Tanis replied. "The fact that there are random irregularities in the balls and table makes it more fun. In a sim, you can figure out how to perfect every move. It's a solved game there." The man shrugged. "Sure, but the sims can simulate the randomness too." Tanis shrugged as she lifted the triangle off the table. "Well, I'm glad not everyone feels that way. I, for one, like to keep my feet firmly planted in reality as much as possible. Stars know that's hard enough." "So, do you mind if I join you in reality?" he asked, giving her a rakish grin. "Not at all. Isn't much competition playing against myself. I always win." As she spoke, Tanis glanced at the table, and her HUD brought up the ideal angle to hold the stick at and the right amount of force to use for a perfect break. "Darla, stop it. That takes all the fun out of it." "Just pointing out that you don't really live in the world you're pontificating about." Tanis resisted the urge to groan at her AI. "It's a cover. And besides, you know I like testing my unaugmented abilities as much as possible." "Considering how much of you is now augmented, as much as possible resolves to nil." "What's got your panties in a bunch today, Darla?" Tanis asked as the man drew his stick back and struck the cue ball, sending it into the fresh rack. It was a well-executed break, and 2 striped balls went into the left corner pocket. Tanis was glad to see that he was playing casually, not tapping his mods or using his HUD to perform ridiculous moves. Either that or he was toying with her. "He's dropped all but one of the code phrases. You've given all yours," Darla noted. "I know, I'm right here," Tanis quipped. "Now who's being testy?" "Sorry, we're just down to 32 days to get to Earth and do whatever it is that we're going to do. I just want to get this meet over with and be gone." "There we go," the man said as he walked around the table, eyeing his options. "I'm Clarence, by the way. What's a woman like you doing in a place like this?"